Today I have a news update on Diablo 4. I want to apologize for missing this one. It was just a few hours ago. And I know a lot of people, basically everybody but myself, was complaining how badly the skeletons were for the Necromancer. I honestly think, you know what, they're just for the aggro. I had no problem once I got going just respawning the skeletons, and I felt for the boss fights and the heavy fights, the skeletons deserve to die. That was just my opinion. Everybody else apparently disagreed with me. And you know what? Be happy because they're apparently getting buffed, and they say probably to the point of the early access where they just stayed alive forever. So we'll see on that exactly how much they got buffed, and probably it's going to be back to that point because everybody was happy with that point and they probably took a lot of shit. This is the first game where they are trying to make the Necro a fan favorite, I think, because of all the shit it's taken in the past. So I feel like they are going to go back to the early access open beta stats that they had for their health.
Diablo 4 feat buffed Necromancer within 6 hours during its server slam. By Paul Tassi. I watched something rather funny unfold during Diablo 4's server slam this weekend, effectively its third beta before its early release in 2 weeks. On Saturday, Diablo GM Rod Ferguson commented that a post-beta nerf to Necromancer skeletons did not feel good, and that he was hearing feedback from the community about it as well. First, it's a rarity to hear someone so high up in a game's development say a recent nerf feels bad. It's hard to picture Destiny 2's Joe Blackburn saying, "Yeah, actually this Stompy's nerf feels terrible," on Twitter. But the best part of this situation is that just over 6 hours later Ferguson announced that they were issuing a hotfix to buff Necromancer skeleton health, presumably back to pre-nerf levels. Literally, his original tweet was at 6:40 p.m., and the hotfix started rolling out by 1 a.m. that same night. That's something you don't see every day, and it gives me a lot of hope for reactive, fast Diablo 4 changes rather than months of deliberation about what should or shouldn't happen. Sure, maybe it's possible internal testing was already leaning toward reverting the nerf before this, but still. I was already pretty impressed by patch speed when the Diablo team already implemented beta nerfs and buffs between the first 2 betas and server slam. There were early complaints that the mostly melee barbarian and druid classes felt bad in early game content, and even players were defending that because they'd scale better in late game. But Blizzard just buffed them immediately, and made them feel stronger at these lower levels with better survivability. I've previously spoken to Rod about the pacing of patches, and while major patches are being saved for seasonal transitions every 3 months, there is going to be live reaction patches that occur during the season. The speed at which these recent ones were implemented, including the essentially instant Necro buff, should give a strong indication that we can expect more insta changes like that if something is clear outlier, one way or another. We are now 2 weeks away from the launch of Diablo 4, hopefully enough time to get a bunch of Tears of the Kingdom in, and then that's a few weeks before Final Fantasy 16. But Diablo 4 is meant to be a live game with yearly seasons in addition to upcoming full expansions, so it's going to be far from a one-and-done launch. We'll see what other changes might slip in before release here based on server slam feedback.
Just want to do a quick reaction at the end of that, commenting on the hotfix time frame and the buff on the barbarian and the druid. So 6 hours is an insanely fast hotfix. If they did not have that already in the works, that means any glitches or exploits will be seriously short-lived. As far as the barbarian and the druid buff go, combined with the reversal of the necromancer nerf, I do want to note that they seem to be giving the community what they want if what the community wants isn't game breaking. So yes, the sorcerer was like the necromancer, and they're keeping the nerf on the necromancer's corpse explosion, and they're keeping the nerf on the hydra and the sorcerer. Both I also feel are very reasonable. I'm always reasonable as long as it's balanced and it's not hurting the game. But I know a lot of people wanted those OP characters, and it seems like Blizzard is fine with giving you what you want if it's not game breaking. So that Hydra, the sorcerer was a little game breaking with the Hydra, borderline, like really on the low end. The Necromancer's ability to annihilate an entire board if you got his build right with the corpse explosion, and it's still really strong. I played the Necromancer in the server slam. I didn't even get all my aspects in line, and I was still wrecking shit. I took out the core dragon boss in 2-player veteran, and I killed it before it. I got it. I waited till it jumped, and then I killed it before it could even move again. Just straight deleted its entire health bar in like 100 and something corpse explosions because I was still able to spam the shit out of them. But moving on to the barbarian and the druid. So their buff signifies that Diablo and Blizzard, mainly Blizzard, is okay with giving us non-game breaking buffs. And a lot of people were unhappy with the barbarian and the druid at launch. Once again, I was not one of them. I felt the druid needed a slight buff at the jump, but I was fine with seeing how it turned out mid-game as well. But it is really cool. Just want to note, I think it's really cool that Blizzard is giving the community what it wants if what the community wants isn't game breaking. And if you like this video, leave a like, comment, share. It helps others find the video. I hope this helped.